I remember thinking game jams are shit. Yeah, I did that. Looking back at me learning game dev, there are quite some things I just wish I did differently. So in this video, I'm gonna share my biggest regrets so you won't have to feel bad when you look back in a few years. Number 1. Although this is the best way to learn game dev, it's also kind of the worst. Talking about tutorials. Look, if you're in the beginner's phase, there's nothing more that's gonna help you more in learning game dev than the tutorials. They're great, they work, they're amazing. There's nothing more I can, appreciate about. But once you get stuck in that tutorial loop, oh boy, it's kind of hard to get out. Hey, what you doing? Oh, I just want to tell them what the tutorial loop looks like. Alright, but be quick. Okay. So fellas, let me show you what a tutorial loop looks like. You wake up in the morning, sit down at your computer and think of a game that's going to be better than GTA 5. And you're gonna make it in 2 months. Now since you're short on time, you can't write the code or make the 3D models, which is a pretty damn good excuse for rather than saying you don't know how to code and make 3D models. So you go to your best working lifeline, the tutorials. Go to YouTube, find what you wanna make, and darling, Control C and V are your best friends. You copy every single fucking step from the videos and don't care at all what all that means. I mean, come on! Who the hell wanna know all that shit? Since you're not a nerd game developer, you are a cool game developer. After a while, things start to go down and you wanna add an automatic rifle gun to your FPS controller, but the tutorial you were watching / copying from only showed how to add a pistol. And you also can't find a tutorial about how to do that. And you don't wanna open Visual Script, more like Nerd Script. But guess what? You find a tutorial about how to add that feature, but wait a minute, that person's script and your script doesn't match at all. How the hell are you going to figure out where to put the code? After a while, you think the idea was not worth working on and was too easy, or maybe you're just dumb. You give up and hit the sack, and then again, you wake up and do the same shit again. And that's a tutorial. Now if you want to make a big project, you might think you can just tape together the whole thing by following a bunch of tutorials. But it doesn't work. And I've been there and I just regret it. Here's something you might want to know. It's just not possible to create a game with the mindset of I'm gonna make it a mess. It's not possible. Game dev is different. Even if you keep everything organized, it's going to be a mess. So how the hell are you going to... It's not possible. That's what I'm saying. So think about how big of a risk you're taking. So the point is, what should you do? Which brings me to my next point, which is learn the basics of programming in 3D. And by that, I don't mean you need to learn how to make ultra realistic 3D models or you need to know how the fuck coordinating works. Nobody knows that. All you need to do is learn the basics. Like for programming, you should take a look at what are ints, floats, strings, and input systems and voids and how they combine to work together. And for 3D, you can take a look at low poly stuff in Blender. It's easy to make and you can check out Imphenzia if you like. He's got everything you need to know about low poly stuff in Blender. He's great. Learning the basics will help you a lot more than you expect. Imagine you just joined a game jam and you want to make a 2D platformer where the player can move, but when you hit the space button, the player shoots rather than jumping. So you go to get up and copy paste a movement script. But wait a minute, when you hit the space button, the player is jumping, it's not shooting. So how do you do that? Please note that I'm not against copy pasting stuff. I do that all the time. It's just you need to know a little bit about what you're copying. If you know the basics, you will know all you need to do is just go where the jump code is written and delete the code. Then go to GitHub and find a code for shooting in 2D and copy the part you need. If you know how it works, you will know what you need to copy. And then paste the code where the jump code was. Super simple. Now if we go to the editor and assign the bullet prefab, voila, I can shoot when I hit the space button. See that's how helpful learning the basics is. And the same thing applies for 2D and 3D and music and marketing and a lot more. Boy, game dev is hard. It's hard but worth the work. Before I tell you the next story, which brings up our next point, let's just accept we have all been there. When I started doing game dev, I downloaded Unity and went straight to watch some beginner tutorials. And after 15 minutes of watching and copying every single step of what Jonas was doing, I started working on planning the next game that will dominate CSGO. And I think you know what happened to that dream. After months of working and in reality not working at all, that game was buried in Uranus. And I remember working on that game in real life rather than doing it in my head was so goddamn hard, I just can't express. And I used to think maybe just I'm not good enough or game dev is not my thing, so I should leave it. But in reality, I was working on the wrong thing. That was the main problem. Only if I had a mindset of learning rather than lust for money, I can't tell you how much I could have learned in those 6-month-long breaks I used to take from game dev after getting exhausted. And I wish I had just worked on my skills in the start because that's actually the best time to do it. So what do you learn from that, kids? Well, don't start your dream project early, and your dream project shouldn't be your only motivation for learning game dev. And there's one more thing I just wish I had done differently, which is only if I just told some people about my idea. I know you have got this amazing idea that is going to change the whole industry forever, but keeping it away from the world will lead to that idea never actually turning into a real game, which means another disappointment. If you just got an idea, just tell anybody. It can be your sibling, a friend, or someone who will give you an honest real world feedback, because sometimes when you think your idea is great, most of the time it's not. And at the same time, when you think your idea is shitty and not worth working on, who knows, it can be world changing. So you need people to tell you whether your idea is great or bad, or it's just okay and need just a little bit of more work. And it's a pretty damn good idea to start sharing your progress on social media like Twitter, Instagram, or YouTube, anything you like, because most of the time solo game devs are pretty low on both budget and time. And just sharing your progress with the world is the most efficient way of building an audience that will love to play your game. If you don't share your project with the world, there's a pretty good chance no one will share their money for your game either, because they won't know your game exists. Now my next point is very crucial and at the same time very effective, which is start participating in game jams. I remember thinking game jams are shit. Yeah, I did that. But one of the best games ever created got the initial idea from game jams. Game jams make you complete your game in a few days for what you would have taken about months to complete. When you join a game jam, you really push yourself to the edge and learn a lot more than you will ever from copying steps from the tutorials or, making the game that will dominate CSGO. When I made a game for my first game jam, I could finally say, yes, I can create games. I am a game developer. Although I couldn't upload it on time. But that's a different story. In the end, game jams are fun and you're going to love them. So, it's a good idea to join them. And one more thing, have you ever wanted a t-shirt that just defines you in some way, of who you are? If yes, you should check out Liverpool. It's a dope brand. They've got everything you need, from t-shirts, tank tops, sweatshirt, hoodies, and a lot more. They have these amazing collections for everyone, for people like me who think they're funny, to crypto people who understand Bitcoin and stuff. And pretty soon they're going to launch both a gamers collection and a developers collection, so keep your eye out for that. And right now they just launched the Save the Earth collection, which is a little step towards doing fashion in a better way. For every cloth you buy from that collection, 30% of the revenue will go to charities and organizations working to solve climate change. And climate change is a real thing and we should all be worried about it. And you can play your part by just buying a t-shirt. Check out this dope brand right now. There's a coupon code in the description if you want to get 10% off your first purchase from Liverpool. And that's it for today. Have a wonderful day. Cheers.